Hello, Mr. Morrison. I hope you are well.
I am well. Thank you.
I am pleasure.
Hi, Mr. Morrison.
Together at this live. If you agree, we can start.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you. I turn off commenting. آقای قلی خان شروع کنیم با سوال اول که من اعلام کردم در رابطه با شکایت برندگان هست. از آقای موریسون میخوایم بپرسیم که آخرین وضعیت شکایت برندگان 2020 به چه صورت هست؟ در چه وضعی هست این شکایت؟
Well, so Mr. Morrison, the first question is regarding the current status or latest status of the 2020 TV lottery complaints. What is it? Can you tell us?
Right. Okay, so I think I should start with a little background for people that may be watching from DV 2023 or the future so that they know how we got here. Just a couple brief overview, okay?
Yes, sure. میگن که بهتره که با یه پیش زمینه شروع کنم از 2023 تا 2020 که ما اصلا کجاییم چی شده. Yes, let's go, please.
So for DV 2020, it was a unique situation because 5 groups and the judge consolidated all 5 and then certified a class.
میفهمن که برای 2020 کاملا شرایط خیلی خاص بوده به خاطر اینکه 5 تا گروه وجود داشته و برای همه اونا قاضی یک رأی خاصی رو صادر کرده. بذارین من اینو متوجه بشم یه بار دیگه مطمئن بشم. I'm sorry, did you just mean that the judge had 5 very special cases or countries? What was that? Can you clarify that? I'm sorry.
So there were 5 lawsuits. Our law firm did 3 of the lawsuits, Mohammed, Fong, Jong, and Kennedy.
Yes. Yes.
So Aker and Gomez, and it's known as the Gomez case because the Gomez, that was the case that was certified as a class. I'm sorry, it's confusing.
No, it's okay. Thank you. I got it right now better. میفهمن که من به خاطر اینکه خودم به عنوان مخاطب عادی البته جناب آقای قافی که متخصص این موضوع هستن و جناب آقای موریسون که وکیل من میخواستم متوجه بشم این رو پرسیدم که منظور تو این 5 تا چی گفتن که 5 شکایت داشتیم که به عنوان گومز معروفه و قاضی یه تعدادی از اونها رو پذیرفت. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, because of that unique situation, all DV 2020 selectees who made application but were not issued a visa are automatically a member of the class.
برای همین تمام کسایی که توی سال 2020 بودن و ویزا براشون صادر نشد همشون توی این کاتگوری شکایت هستند.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so we litigated that case all the way through and we won. We won at the district court level. Judge Mehta said, you won. And then the Biden administration appealed that order.
میفهمن که ما توی دادگاه برنده شدیم. قاضی گفتن که اوکی اما خب دولت جناب آقای بایدن اپیلش کردن یعنی روش نظر آوردن گفتن که نه.
So there are 95, just about 9,000 visas that have been reserved, but they cannot be issued until we beat the appeal.
میگن که در واقع حدود 90,000 تا 95,000 ویزا هستن که رزرو شدن.
خالی خب اصخایی میکنم 9,095 ویزا هستن. اصخایی میکنم.
بله ببخشید. من معذرت متشکرم. 9,095 ویزا وجود دارن که تا ما اپیل نکنیم نمیشه صادر بشند و اینا رزروان. متشکرم آقای قافی. ممنون. Yes, go ahead, please.
این از آقای موریسون لطفا بپرسید که چرا دولت استقامت کرد دولتی که طرفدار مهاجرت هست چرا در مقابل این رأی که تقریبا میتونیم بگیم در طبق حالا گفته های رسانه‌ای بر موافق خواسته خودشه چرا مخالفت کرد با
بسیار خوب. Well, the question is basically why does the Biden administration who claims to be the support of immigrants appealed? Why did it happen?
That is a good question. Basically, during the Trump years, 4 years of hell, many bureaucrats who had Trump's thinking rose to levels of leadership in the State Department. And they are still there. Biden did not clean house when he took over because it was not his priority. In his defense, he was worried about COVID. I don't think anything else, but his focus was not the State Department. And so those people are still there. The anti-immigrant crowd that's in leadership at the State Department is still there.
میگن که در واقع تمام اون افرادی که توی دپارتمنت بودن، توی هاوس بودن، سنت بودن و ضد مهاجرت بودن دوره آقای ترامپ، متاسفانه این واژه هل یعنی جهنمی رو به کار بردن، هنوزم هستن و آقای بایدن مثلا که اولویتشون چیز دیگه بوده، از کووید گرفته تا موارد دیگه و خب اونا هنوز اونجا هستن.
I like to give one example. Edward Ramatowski is the person who signed the memo in 2017 after the first Muslim ban that revoked the visas for the Iranians that were on airplanes on their way to the U.S. that had to be turned back. That was Edward Ramatowski. Edward Ramatowski still has a job with the State Department.
مثال ادوارد راماتاسکی میزنن، کسی که اون سال که رأی گذاشتن برای اینکه ایرانیایی که تو هواپیما بودن ویزا گرفته بودن برگردونده بشن برای مسلم بن یا در واقع محدودیت‌های مسلمان‌ها در دوران آقای ترامپ و هنوزم همونجا هست متاسفانه.
آقای موریسون، شما آینده برندگان 2020 رو چه میدونید و سوال اصلی اینه که آیا چه گروهی از اولی سوال بود که چه گروهی از 2020 ها رو این شامل میشه؟ آیا کسایی که به مصاحبه رفتن هم شامل میشه یا فقط افرادی که در اصل به اینترویو نرفتن و حالا دو نوع رفتن؟ این بپرسید تا من سوال دوم رو هم بپرسم.
Well, Mr. Morrison, there's basically one question, which there are two questions. The first one being that how do you see the future for the 2020 selectees who were invited and the ones that are not yet invited?
Okay. So let me back up and finish what I was saying as far as an update to where we are now. We have a hearing in September, and I expect that I hope that the appeals court will rule quickly to where the reserved visas can be issued in early 2023.
دارم میگن که برگشت به صحبتی داشتم میکردم، ما با توجه به اینکه به سال مالی سال فیسکال year 2022 سپتامبر داریم نزدیک میشیم، درست مالی داریم نزدیک میشیم، امیدوارم که این اپیلی که ما کردیم به دادگاه رو قبول بکنم که حداقل ما بتونیم به هر حال حقوق برنده ها رو بگیریم.
برنده های 2022
2022 or 2020, Mr. Morrison? Do you mean 2020 or 2022?
I thought I said, did I say 2022? Okay, I mean 2023. I'm sorry. Like, September will be the hearing. It will take a couple months for the decision and for State Department to restart the process. So early 2023. I don't know what I said. I'm sorry.
Okay, 2023 رو میگن. 2023 رو دارن میگن.
January, February.
آقای قلی خان، سوال رو فکر کنم واضح‌تر باید بپرسیم. سوال اینه که کدوم گروه از برندگان 2020 سال 2020 شامل این شکایت 9095 ویزا میشن؟ یعنی چه گروهی از برندگان این 9095 ویزا بهشون تعلق میگیره از برندگان 2020؟
شاید من بد پرسیدم. Mr. Morrison, sorry about the possible confusion. So the thing is, which group of the 2020 winners are in this category now?
Right.
The ones who are, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Same question. I didn't want to answer the question until I laid that framework. Okay. The DVs that had already attended interview will not be prejudiced because they already attended interview and refused under Muslim ban or 10014. They will not be prejudiced for that. And in my view, they actually have an advantage. Translate, and I'll keep going.
yes. میگه که اونایی که دعوت شدن دیگه هیچ قضاوتی نمیشن. خب یعنی اونایی که دعوت شدن دیگه هیچ مشکل پریجودیس یعنی تعصبی در موردشون وجود نداره. خب اینو تا اینجا اینجوری گفتن.
اونایی که دعوت شدن و اینترویوشون کنسل شده چی؟
How well there is one thing here, the question, how about the ones who were invited but their interview was canceled? How about those selectees?
Right. Let me finish my answer to the last question.
Sorry, yes, go ahead.
And then okay. The reason I think that they have an advantage, the ones that have already been interviewed, is once the State Department loses this appeal, they will want to issue these 9,000 visas and put this behind them as quickly as possible, hopefully, without like thinking about it. And the easiest way for them to do that is to issue visas. They don't have to invite people to come back in, right? And so they don't have to, if someone already attended an interview, they don't need to attend another interview. They will need to do another medical exam. They will need to have the courier take their passport to the embassy, but it will be easier on the consulate. So I think, and plus they probably are next in line, right? Because they were already at interview. So I think that that's why people that already had an interview, even though they were refused, have an advantage. Okay. You want to no.
Yeah, let me translate. Yes. میگن که اینایی که در واقع توی گروه اول بودن یعنی مصاحبه شدن، اوکی، خیلی یه مزیتی دارن و اونم اینه که دیگه خب مثلا شاید فقط مدیکال رو باید انجام بدن یا کوریر رو مشخص بکنن. خب پس یعنی ویزای اینا دیگه میشه گفت بنا باشه اینو ببریم به این شکلی که خب اینا ویزاها رو دیگه اون 9000 خورده‌ای که شما فرمودین رو میگیرن. اما حتی در مورد اونایی که مصاحبه دعوت شدن ولی شما فهمیدید که توی سوال ریجکت شدن، درسته آقای
مصاحبه یه گروهی آقای قلی خان ما 3 گروه داشتیم. یه گروهی به مصاحبه دعوت شدن اوایل سال 2020 رفتن. یه گروهی دعوت شدن و به هر دلیل نرفتن، خودشون نرفتن. و یه گروه داریم که دعوت شدن ولی به دلیل کووید کنسل شد اون اینترویو.
بله. همین این معذرت میخوام این کنسلیه رو گفتن که حتی اینها هم بعد از اونایی که مصاحبه شدن شانس دارن. اینو دارن میگن. ایشون این رو فهمیدن. حالا اگه بازم چیزی هست من بخوام بپرسم مشخص بشه بگید.
ایشون یعنی کسایی که مصاحبه شدن و به دلیل تراول بند ویزا نشدن آیا جز این شکایت هم فکر نکنم؟ دوباره میپرسید.
Okay, Mr. Morrison. Well, there is basically this question. Can I go ahead?
I answer the last one. I had answering the last question. But go ahead.
No.
Forget the last question.
I'm sorry. Well, the thing is, are the people whose interview is canceled also included in this? I think you said yes. I think in this appeal, are they going to be...
I was getting to answer. I was breaking it up in parts so you don't have so much to translate, but I'll just talk a whole bunch and then you can translate. That's fine.
Sorry.
That's okay. So if you were invited to an interview, I would say you probably have an advantage over the DVs who were not invited to an interview, which is sort of related to whether or not your documents were qualified or your DS-260 was submitted. What was approved, I guess, those steps. However, we don't know any of this. We are just speculating, right? The State Department determines the order that visas are issued. And I know it's, everybody would like to know, do I have hold? What are my odds? These are not questions that can be answered. People, it's difficult, but you have to accept that these things are unknowable. We cannot know these things.
Okay. Yes. خب دارن تاکید میکنن که به حسب این چیزایی که ما داریم میگیم واقعا بیشتر حدس و گمان زنی هست. یعنی در ابتدا خب اونهایی که دعوت شدن خب شانس دارن بیشتر از اونهایی که کنسل شده اینترویو هاشون. خب ولی داره میگه که خب احتمال داره که این گروه دوم هم دعوت بشن. همینو دارن میگن. یعنی همش میگه
گروه اول ببینید قطعا برای مخاطبین مبهمه که گروه اولی که دعوت شدن چی؟ دعوت شدن، اینترویو بودن و به دلیل کووید ویزا صادر نشده، منظورشون با این گروهه، یا گروهی که دعوت شدن مصاحبه رفتن و به دلیل
the internet connection, his internet connection just broke down a little bit. ببخشید بفرمایید. لحظه اینترنت شما رو
مشکل فکر کنم پیدا کرد. من دوباره میپرسم آقای ببینید، ما الان بینندگان ابهام روی این دارن. ببینید دسته اول یک گروهی هستن که به اینترویو رفتن و به دلیل تراول بن ویزا نشدن. آیا این گروه شامل این هستن یا نه؟ من تیکه تیکه میپرسم.
Okay, we're very sorry about this, Mr. Morrison. I'm sorry. Well, this is kind of a live thing, and you know, a little bit of stress. Well, and there is something as a confusion here in Iran among the Iranian selectees who are not invited because of the travel ban. Okay, so who are not invited, right? They're selected, but they're not invited. Are they also included in this appeal? Are they? Do they have the? I mean, is there any chance for them to just, I mean, do you have any speculation in this if they?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that should not be a barrier for eligibility for one of the 9,000 reserved visas. That should not be a barrier, okay? Sometimes the State Department acts in mysterious ways, so we can't explain exactly their procedures, but that ban is gone. So even if you were refused under the Muslim ban or you refused under one of the other crazy Trump bans, those are gone and those should not prejudice you. Okay?
Thank you. Let me translate this. میگن که قاعدتاً این نباید باشه. یعنی این بن، مسلم بن دیگه نباید باشه. یعنی خب چون اون تموم شده، اون دولت رفته. خب اما داره میگه که یه کارهای عجیبی استیت دیپارتمنت انجام میده، مرموز، یه جورایی رمزآمیزه که ما نمیتونیم یه موقع پیش بینی کنیم. اما میگه الان بر طبق چیزی که هست نه، این نباید مسئله‌ای باشه. پس
یعنی اینها شامل اون 9095 نفر نمیشن.
I have one exception to that.
Sorry, what did you say?
One exception to that.
At one exception. یعنی تو یک استثنا. What was that exception?
If you were refused under what's called 212A3B because you were a former member of SEPA IRGC, that's the same. Biden has not changed that. That
yes
continues.
دارن در واقع چیزو متاسفانه ذکر میکنن، همون نیروی قدس و اینا که این همچنان پاورجا هستش. اگه عضو اون بودی که اون دیگه عوض نمیشه هیچ وقت هرگز. الان سوال جواب گرفتن یا نه؟
فقط آقای قلی خان این رو جمع کنیم که برندگانی که میبینن در چیز بشن. پس هم شامل افرادی میشه که اینترویو رفتن، هم شامل افرادی میشه که به اینترویو نرفتن یا کنسل شده. پس این شکایت ویژه همه خواهد شد. اینو بپرسید لطفا.
Cash. Well, just to wrap this part up, Mr. Morrison, please, this appeal includes both those selectees who were invited to the interview and attended the interview, as well as the ones who were invited but could not attend it because their interview was cancelled because of the Trump ban or blah, blah.
It also includes those that were not invited at all.
و حتی میگن که شامل اونایی که هرگز دعوت نشدن هم میشه.
However,
in appeal
1,000 visas, and there are many more people that want those, so not everyone will get one.
Yes. و میگن که 9,000 تا خورده ویزا داریم و کلی آدم، پس همه ویزا نمیگیرن.
خب
اما همه دست داشتن.
و سوال نهایی برای 2020 ها اینه که 9,095 ویزا بین این افراد چجوری تقسیم خواهد شد؟ مشخصه مکانیزم؟
Well, there's one last question about the 2020 diversity winners, and that's basically about what is the mechanism of, you know, kind of dividing this 9,095 visas among them. Is there any kind of mechanism in this? Is there any way that they select the, you know, selectees?
Right. I think that there is some kind of, it's not another lottery. but we do not know that algorithm. Just like in the regular year, we do not know that algorithm. I think factors would include case number, when the DS-260 was submitted. Those are important factors, but the real important factor cannot be known right now, and that is embassy conditions. And trying to predict embassy conditions 6 or 8 in the future, or a year in the future, is impossible. I cannot tell you in March of next year whether or not Ankara, Abu Dhabi, or Yerevan will be the best. I could take bets on it. I think it's going to be Yerevan, but I don't know, right? So it's impossible to know the mechanism that the State Department's going to use, and trying to calculate probabilities. There's just too much unknowns to do that.
Well, just one thing, just in this part, last part, you said, I'm sorry about that. I would like you to kindly clarify it for me. So what did you say about Yerevan? What was that? What was the last point about Yerevan? Sorry.
Okay, so for several years now, Iranians have played this game where we try to predict what embassy is going to be the best embassy in the future.
Yes, yes, yes.
It is very difficult game. Every time I say Ankara, never again, Ankara issues a bunch of visas. Whenever and right now Abu Dhabi is the embassy that is disappointing us, right? And so which embassy will be disappointing us 6 months from now is difficult to predict. What I like about Yerevan is their backlog of family preference visas is not as big as Ankara and Abu Dhabi's. So my preference for anybody watching right now, my preference for Orions is Yerevan. But watch everybody transfer their cases there, and then it'll change again, right? So it's hard to predict.
Okay, thank you. داشتن میفرمودند که در واقع خب این سخته واقعا پیش بینی کردنش، اما بر حسب یه قانونی که وجود داره که جناب عالی هم بهتر میدونین و احتمالاً بیننده ها عزیز میگن که خب این که یه نفر کیس نامبرش چنده، دی اس رو کی سابمیت میکنه، اینا 2 تا فاکتور خیلی مهمن، اما بقیه‌شو واقعا اینه که یه الگوریتمی انگار ما نمیدونیم. و یه نکته دیگه که دارن میگن در مورد پیش بینی هستش، خود دارن میگن که من نظر شخصیم اینه که ایران یکم شاید بهتر عمل کنه برای آینده. البته خیلی کار سختیه، اما بخاطر این دلیلی که دارن میگن اینه که کیسای فامیلی ویزا رو بکلاگ داره تو ایران. اینو دارن میگن. حالا البته میگن واقعا پیش بینی خیلی سخته، چون یهو مثلا مثال میزنن میگن که ما میگیم الان آنکارا نه دیگه، ولی یهو میبینی کلی ویزا میاد یا که اصلا صادر نمیکنه. نمیدونم، یا مثلا ابوظبی که امسال عجیب عمل کرده رو دارن مثال میزنن.
آقای قلی خان، در نهایت بپرسید که چقدر امید دارن این پرونده 2020 ها به رأی نهایی 9095 برسه با توجه به این سرگرداندازی هایی که وزارت امور خارجه انجام داده.
Yes, sure. بله چشم. Well, regarding the 2020 winners, what are the chances that they can reach, a kind of conclusion somewhere, considering the problems and issues that they are faced by the, Senate, by the House. What's your prediction?
Right.
What do you think?
Okay, you mentioned the Senate and the House, and that's Congress. We no longer have faith.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Congress will. We tried. We spent a lot of money to get Congress to solve the problem and to save us. But I know have faith that Congress will solve the problem. Clarify that. And then the second thing is the U.S. justice system is built with the concern of justice will prevail, but not speed. Like it's not necessarily going to be fast. So if we lose the appeal, or if the government loses the appeal, there is an option to appeal that either to what's called the phrase skips my mind right now, to another group, to a group of the whole judges, a whole panel of that appeals court, or to the Supreme Court. That will take more time. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm very optimistic about our odds for this appeal. I think that Other people disagree, but I'm optimistic that this is going to be early.
Yes, okay. دارن میگن که من البته یه واژه کانگرس رو یهو آوردم و گفتن که ما کلی پول داریم خرج کنیم برای اینکه اتفاقا توی کنگره بتونیم برای اینا رو اقناع بکنیم برای اینکه خب قبول بکنیم خیلی. اما ما اونجا حال نمیدونیم چی میشه. دارن میگن که
رو دارن به کار.
جان
از لابی ها دارن استفاده میکنن.
بله میبخشید. بله. و در ادامه دارن میگن که خب این واقعا من شخصا خوشبینم به این، ولی قانون در واقع روند قانونی آمریکا این شکلیه که یه سرعت نداره الزام، یعنی سریع نی. پس اگه این هر چقدر طول بکشه یا ما میبریم یا دولت، اما به هر کی یعنی ببازه اینطوری که اون میتونه دوباره اپیل کنه و خب این یه چیز زمان بره. اینو گفتن.
خیلی ممنونم از توضیحات در مورد 2020. بریم سراغ 2021 ها. اولین سوال اینه که چرا درخواست شده فقط کلاینت های خودشون شامل این رأی دادگاه بشن؟ چرا همه رو شامل نکردن مثل شکایت های قبلی که در این زمینه بود؟
چشم. Mr. Morrison, thank you very much for your clarifications on 2020 winners. Now we're moving on with the 2021 winners. Well, there's one basic question, that's what's the reason you've included your own clients in this lawsuit rather than all the other, kind of complaints, because as opposed to the previous years like 2020? Is there any reason behind this?
Yes. Okay. So for in 2020, Judge Mehta approved what was called a motion for class certification. That is a mechanism that the court can use to give relief to everybody. Okay. In 2021, 5 of those motions were filed. Charles Cuck filed one in Annunciation first. We filed 2 in Jacob, 3 in Jacob, and then 1 before Judge Mehta. So there were 5 motions for class certification, and they were all denied. And it was because the government fought us. And ultimately, we decided that, you know what? We need to take care of our clients, the people that hired us. That's what's most important to us. We thought that the court would appreciate us including a class because it's more just. It's fair to include the class, but the government was cooperating, the courts were cooperating, and so we said no. That's not what our clients wanted. Our clients just wanted us to take care of them. So that's why for 2021, a lot of people got left off the boat because there was not class certification, because the judge didn't grant class.
Yeah, well, Mr. Morrison, yeah, sorry, because it was a little bit long and many of the names, I might not remember them. Well, I'm asking for some short rephrasing. So okay. Do you imply that these huge number of people who were in the appeal led to the point where they were not successful in the lawsuit? Therefore, you decided that you want to focus on the clients of your own so that you would kind of defend them better. Is that what you mean or no?
So there was one hearing before Judge Mehta in September of 2021, one hearing where he said out loud that he was not going to give priority to our plaintiffs just because they brought motion for class certification. Well, that was the okay. We did it. So once the judge told us that there would be no benefit to us bringing that to our plaintiffs, I went to them, but I didn't have to. My email box, my Telegram, my WhatsApp was full with all of them saying, drop the class cert. And they were right. The only reason a plaintiff brings a class cert is if there's a benefit to them. And once the judge removed that benefit and said, oh, I'm not going to take care of you special just because you brought a class cert, a motion for class certification, the judge removed the incentive for the Good Luck plaintiffs, for the Jacob plaintiff, I'm sorry, for the class. So that's why there's not a class certification.
و یه تعدادی جناب آقای قافی عزیز به هر حال واژگانی که دارم می‌کنم من یه تعدادش برای من چون قانونی مال زمینه قانون اینا هستش یکم پیچیده است حقیقتا خیلی صادقانه بگم اما این طوری که من متوجه شدم این بود که به هر حال اون موقعی که ایشون برای 2020 پیگیر شدن برای همه یه موشن فور اکتی صادر شد از طرف قاضی و این اتفاق افتاد که انگاری اینا به یه بنبست رسیدن به خاطر اینکه قابل پیگیر نبود به خاطر اینکه ایشون دارن توی دومین سوالی که من پرسیدم گفتم که اگه میشه لطفاً واضح بگین که تعداد زیاد به هر حال اون افرادی که شما ازشون داشتید به هر حال دفاع می‌کردید آیا باعث این شد که به اینجا برسید که به بنبست رسیدین و بعد روی تمرکزتون بذارین روی موکلین خودتون فرمودن که اینو جواب درست ندادن ولی گفتن که من یه تعداد زیادی پیام داشتم هم روی تلگرام هم ایمیلم که خب میفهمیدم که به من داشتن گفتن که این کیس رو دراپ کن یعنی به این معنا که این به جایی نمیرسه اوکی من اینطور دریافت کردم حالا نمیدونم
حالا آقای قالی خان اوکی الان این سوال رو بپرسید آیا شانسی برای افرادی هست از برندگان 2021 که شکایت نکردن
Mr. Morrison, are there any chances for the DV 2021 winners who have not complained yet, who have not appealed yet?
No, with one exception. There was another order that we also brought another lawsuit called the Ray lawsuit, and if the plaintiffs were waiting for an interview from at certain embassies like the Schengen area, Brazil, South Africa, China, if they were waiting for interviews from those embassies, they could get some of those 966 reserve visas from them. And I know you're, oh, none of the Iranians. Well, believe it or not, we have a couple of Iranians in Europe who were waiting for those visas at those embassies.
Yeah.
So what's fortunate is a lot of Iranians did sign up for our Jacob and Good Luck lawsuit. Almost 400 DV selectees from Iran are eligible for the Good Luck visas once we win that case. But that's going to be 2023.
Thank you. دارن میگن که در واقع یه استثناء وجود داره. شانسی ندارن. اوکی، اونایی که شکایت نکردن به جز یه استثناء. این استثناء اونایی که تو حوزه شنگنن، توی آفریقای جنوبی هن، برزیل و ساوت آفریقا. و دارن میگن که ما همین الان 400 تا کیس داریم ایرانی که توی این حوزه هستن و این شانس رو دارن که ما وقتی ببریم گود لاک درسته آقای قافی؟ توی گود لاک ما ببریم اینا برای الان دیگه نه برای 2023 بتونن ان برن برای پروسه به هر حال
یعنی کسایی که شکایت نکردن و تو حوزه شنگن و آفریقای جنوبی و برزیل هستن اینها شانس دارن.
بله.
امکانش هست یک گروه جدید از 2021 اضافه کنیم یا دیگه این امکان وجود نداره یک شکایت جدید؟
الان میپرسم. Mr. Morrison, sorry, is there any possibility if we add any category or subcategory to this appeal of 2021, add it to the ones you just mentioned, or no? Is there any possibility right now or no?
Well, you say the word appeal, you mean there's two different
complaints.
Asking.
I'm sorry. Well, you just mentioned that there's an exception for the ones who have not complained, except the ones who are in the Schengen area and the other three countries you just mentioned.
Okay.
Well, is there any chance that there would be another? Yeah, sorry.
No, there's not. And the reason is case law. Other judges' decisions have been clear that you have to bring a lawsuit before September 30th for your right to be preserved. So every day I get dozens of messages saying, I'm a DV 18, 19, 20, 21. Can I file a lawsuit now? And I say, no, Now, you could probably find an attorney to take your money and file a lawsuit, right? So I don't do it. It's typically the best. Look at you're not eligible for a good luck or a visa is your DV 2021 journey is over, and to look enter 2024, and hopefully you'll have better.
نه متاسفانه به خاطر اینکه دارم تاکید میکنم سال مالی گذشته دیگه هیچ شانسی برای این گروه جدید وجود نداره.
مرسی و عرض کنم بریم سراغ شکایت 2022 ها. البته برمیگردیم به 2017 تا 2021 و صحبت میکنیم. بینندگان از باشن با ما. شکایت 2022 الان در چه زمینه ایه؟ چرا این اتفاق الان با چه عنوانی داره این اتفاق میفته برای 2022 ها؟
Well, Mr. Morrison, there is one question regarding the 2022 group of DV selectees who have this complaint. Well, what is the update? What's going on with them? And what's the background? What is it? How is it going with this?
Right. So, what's is the barriers that faced one were two, and the barrier 2020, and the barriers that face 2022, 2021. The department moving the ball. They keep moving the barriers, but they're barriers. Okay. Basically, this year they are pacing, issuing half as many visas as they're supposed to. Right. 55,000 is how many Congress said. Congress said you have 55,000 diversity visas, and I would be surprised if they issued 30,000. I don't think that's going to happen. I would be surprised. A big problem I see in the DV community is the DVs are arguing amongst themselves on who gets to go first, and not wanting to argue about with the government about why are you cutting the program in half. So our lawsuits are about Mr. Blinken, Mr. Biden, why are you cutting this program in half? That's unlawful.
Yes, thank you. Well, دارن میگن که در واقع انگار که هر سالی داریم میریم جلوتر به نظر میرسه که خب یه سری از موانع داره برداشته میشه، اما بازم مانع هست و ما خودمون الان نمیدونیم که چرا این شکلی روند. یعنی مثلا ما دارن اسم آقای بلینکن و آقای بایدن میارن، یعنی ما میپرسیم که خب چرا یه همچین سهمیه‌ای وقتی وجود داره شما نصفش کنین. یعنی دارن میگن که این 55,000 تا سهمیه، من تعجب میکنم که حتی به نصف صادر شده باشه یا بشه. اینه که جواب درستی واقعا شاید براش وجود نداره که چرا اینجوریه، چرا این شکلیه. وضعیت که الان خب خودتون بهتر میدونید دارن میگن که به نصف حتی تا همین الان نرسیده ویزاها و
خب الان عنوان شکایت چیه؟ سوال من اینه، عنوان شکایت چیه؟ یک شکایت عمومیه یا برای افرادیه که احتمال دعوت به اینترویوشون با توجه سفارتشون؟
چشم. Mr. Morrison, what is the, let's say, topic or title of this, a big complaint, let's say this way? Is it about all the people who have won, or is it just about the people who are invited? Which category of these selectees does it include, if you can tell us?
Okay, are you talking about the complaint we already filed, the UAO versus
2022
next lawsuit that we're going to file?
And it's about the 2022 lawsuit. Yeah.
So for 2022, as far as the big group lawsuits, we filed one already, UAO versus Biden, and it's got, I think, 200 selectees, 2,400. And then we're going probably to offer another group lawsuit that we will announce in a couple weeks. And both of them have this in common. If you submitted a DS-260, you're eligible because you are prejudiced by the administration and their policies. If you're pursuing the DV, you are being prejudiced. So we are not doing a group lawsuit just for those people that have been invited. We're doing a group lawsuit for these that have submitted an application.
دارن میگن که ما یه دونه که اول لاسویت اولی که در واقع برش اقدام کردیم حدود 200 خورده کیس رو شامل میشه یکی دیگه هم توی چند وقت چند هفته آینده ما برای اونایی که در واقع برای همه در نظر نگرفتیم، برای اونایی که در واقع DS میگن که اونی که DS رو سابمیت کرده طبق قانون الیجیبله، یعنی حائز شرایطه، ولی خب ما اینو برای اونایی که دعوت نشدند، ببخشید من یه تیکه رو معذرت میخوام، خودم یکم الان از ذهنم میپره، این یه تیکه آخر رو بذارید بپرسم. سامی میسی موریسون
بهش بگید تو بازه های کوتاه‌تری صحبت کنید، شما بگید بعدش ادامه بدید که فکر بهتره.
Sorry, Mr. Morrison. The last part was, I'm just asking, sorry.
Okay.
The last part of your talk was whether you have applied for the ones who are selected or the ones who have submitted a DSD 260. Which ones? I didn't get this quite right. So, who does this lawsuit include? Right. You said that you applied for 2 groups. One, which is done to about 200 cases, you said, and then the next one, which comes in the next few weeks, right?
Right. It's more than 200. It's 2,400. So.
Oh, sorry.
No, 2,429 selectees. That's the United African Organization versus Biden. We only do group lawsuits for people that have submitted a DS-260. If they have not submitted a DS-260, they are not pursuing. I mean, that's the first step. If they're not doing the first step, I don't want them as a plaintiff, right?
Yes, okay. Let me translate this. دارن تاکید میکنن ما فقط برای اونایی که DS-260 سابمیت کردن داریم این کار رو انجام میدیم. فقط.
کسایی که DS-260 سابمیت کردن و احتمال رفتن به اینترویوشون کمه، داریم با این عنوان شکایت میکنیم.
And does it also include, is this probability if they are going to be invited? I mean, the people who have submitted a DS-2060, and there's this probability that they are going to be invited to the interview.
Yes.
Does this lawsuit, yes, does this lawsuit include these 2 people, these people?
Right, so I think your question is, when you file a lawsuit, what if you were going to be invited to the interview anyway? Right? Is that the question?
Yeah.
And the answer is the State Department will never, well, rarely say, we are inviting you to the interview because you are a plaintiff. However, what we have seen over time is our plaintiffs get interviews at a higher rate than the general population, dramatically. There are 1,300 DV 2020 and 2021 selectees who are living in the U.S. right now with green cards in their families because the State Department was trying to impress the judge by issuing them visas. So we know that participation in litigation will improve your chances of being issued a visa. But the State Department will never say, rarely say, this is happening because you are a plaintiff.
دارن میگن که در واقع پیش بینی این که یه نفری که DS-260 رو سابمیت کرده میتونه بره یا نه ما خب نمیدونیم، ولی ما میبینیم که یه تعدادی از این کسایی که الان گرین کارت دستشونه دارن با خانواده‌شون زندگی میکنن جزو کسایی هستن که استیت دیپارتمنت داشت سعی میکرد که نذاره برن با این قواعد، با این سختگیری‌ها، ولی الان رفتن. پس من این رو تونستم بفهمم بهتون بگم.
اوکی و بله، منظور حالا من به کسایی که دارن لایو میبینن توضیح بدم که کسایی که به هر دلیلی احتمال میدن ممکنه صدور ویزاشون در خطر باشه و DS رو سابمیت کردن و به اینترویو هم نرفتن میتونن در این حالا شامل این شکایت باشن. به آقای موریسون، از آقای موریسون بپرسید که آیا شکایت فعالی برای 2022 در حال حاضر فعال هست یا نه در هفته‌های آینده فعال میشه؟
چشم. Dear Mr. Morrison, are there any current lawsuits active for the 2022 winners at the moment, or is it going to be active in the next few, I don't know, weeks or months or what?
Well, you mean pending? There are already 4 cases pending that are group lawsuits for 2022 selectees. There's our UAO versus Biden lawsuit I was talking about in Illinois. Bless has Kentucky called Sue, actually, so there's 5. Sue and Preston, and then there's in DC, there's our Tesfaye case. So there are pending TV 2022 lawsuits already that could impact, and I think already have impacted the State Department. I think if those lawsuits had not been filed, they would not have been issuing near as they have. However, I don't know if our competitors are. I just know we will. If we do the group, we do one more. We will announce it in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes. دارم میگن که همین الان که داریم با هم دیگه حرف میزنیم یه چیز نزدیک 5 تا لاسود اکتیو ما داریم پندینگه. پس و اینا میتونه اثر بذاره روی به هر حال این تصمیمی که دپارتمنت میتونه بگیره. یعنی الان که ما داریم حرف میزنیم 5 تا وجود چند تا اسمم آوردن.
یعنی این 5 تا نظرشون اینه که این فشار میتونه به وزارت امور خارجه این از این رو القا کنه که بیشتر ویزا صادر کنه، بیشتر اینترویو بده برای 2022.
چشم. So Mr. Morrison, do you confirm that this point that these 5 lawsuits you just mentioned will push some pressure on the Department of State in order to issue some more visas for the DV 2022 selectees? Probably.
I believe they already have, and I think that they will continue to. But at the end of the day, we are going to need judges to compel the State Department to act, because otherwise they're just going to do just enough to get by. They're going to need to, it's going to be like the last couple of years. They need a judge to slap them.
Yes. Well, میگم که خب همین الان هم نگاه میکنیم که اثری گذاشته و من امیدوارم که اثر بزنه. اما خب این قاضی ها هستن که رأی نهایی رو تصمیم نهایی رو میگیرن، ولی میگن که همینطور که میبینیم تا همین الان انگار تاثیر گذاشته و میتونه تاثیر بگذاره.
بله تأثیری که حالا اگر بخوایم روی این حساب این کنیم بله تأثیری بوده، ولی خب من حالا خیلی شاید 100% نه شاید 20% بتونم تأثیر اینو ببینم. آقای موریسون بپرسید، آقای خلیفان بپرسید که اگر کسی بخواد در این شکایت شرکت کنه کی میتونه این کارو چه طریقی میتونه این کارو انجام بده در شکایت‌های آینده؟
چشم. Mr. Morrison, if there are winners who would like to ask to participate in this lawsuit, let's say, what is the way? How can I do this? How can I register in this lawsuit? Let's say
group lawsuit.
Yeah.
Glad you asked this question, because I know something will be different with the onboarding for this lawsuit than the last lawsuit. We will not take a month to onboard. The onboarding will be quick. It could be 1 week. It might be 2, but it could be 1 week. So the most important part is that you are notified and you know when we offer it, so you can examine it and ask questions and decide if it's right for you and have time to make a good decision. I don't want people to be rushed to make a decision. So we have an interest list on our website. If DV 2022 selectees interested in our next group's lawsuit could sign up on the interest list, we've tried to make it, or at least follow influencers like yourselves to where they know what's happening, they won't miss the opportunity. The most frustrating messages I get are for people that walk away from the internet for a week or 2, miss an opportunity, and then say, oh, but I wasn't on the internet that week, I didn't know. So if the DB lottery is important to you, you have to follow the updates all the way through to September to know that you don't miss an opportunity.
Yes. دارن میگن که خب یه چیزی که وجود داره اینه که یه اینترست لیستی روی وبسایت ما وجود داره و دارن البته که اولش که خیلی خوشحال شدن که این سوالو پرسیدین، گفتن که اینترست لیستی توی وبسایت خود ما وجود داره و میگن که یه سری اینفلوئنسر شبیه خود شما قافی برنده‌ها میتونن دنبال کنن برای اینکه آپدیت های مهمی که در مورد این لاسود و اخبار مهم دیگه که در مورد دیوی هست رو دریافت کنن و دارن میگن که اصولا برای برنده این مهمه که از وقتی که برنده میشن تا آخر سال مالی خودشون پیگیر باشن اخبار رو از منابع البته موثق مثل سایت ایشون، اینفلوئنسرایی مثل خود شما و همکاراتون.
خب یعنی الان من خیلی واضح‌تر بپرسیم که حالا ابهامی برای برندگان به وجود نیاد، آیا باید درخواست در اصل درخواست اینترست لیست علاقمندی بدن به حضور در اینها روی سایت در اصل آقای موریسون، درسته؟
Yes. Yes, okay. Well, Mr. Morrison, sorry, just to make it very clear for our audience, do they have to show a kind of interest in the interest list on your website so that they are in this lawsuit? No. Is that the way?
No,
yes?
but the reason I like them to is so that they will not miss the opportunity. I'm very frustrated when I have to tell people it's too late. Because once the you can't back the train back up, right? So I want people to know what is happening, and I can't communicate with them if they don't sign up on our interest list. And then another bad thing, sometimes our interest list emails go to spam folders, and I haven't figured that out yet. I might be sending the email out from 2 different emails.
دارم میگن که روی No, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate influencers like yourselves that will communicate good information to DV, because it's like you're stranded on islands. The State Department does not help you. They do not give you any information. They do not answer the phone. So I want to thank you all for your service and what you do.
Thank you. دارن میگن که واقعا بایستی روی این سیستم شما سابسکرایب کنید و مطمئن بشید که ایمیلایی که از سمت ما میاد توی فولدرهای اسپم و این جانک و ایناتون نمیره. یکی و دارن تاکید میکنن الان میگن که من دوست ندارم یه موقع دیر بشه برگردم بگم این دیره. It's too late. اوکی؟ و باز دوباره دارن تاکید میکنن میگن که خب حتما از افرادی مثل شما کمک بگیرن، آپدیت های شما رو داشته باشن و بازم از البته خود شما دارم تشکر میکنم برای همه خدماتی که دارید برای برنده های لاتری انجام میدید.
خب بپرسید از موریسون که هزینه این به چه صورت هست و پرداخت هزینه، این که آیا این شکایت اگر به نتیجه برسه هزینه داره یا از اول باید هزینه پرداخت کنن، این به چه صورت هست شرایطش؟
Okay. Well, Mr. Morrison, now this is all about the fee. So how much does it cost the applicants first of all, and then how should they pay it? Should they pay it upfront, or should they pay it when the lawsuit and appeal is goes to a conclusion? No, there is a result.
Right. So in the first group lawsuit we offered, UAO versus Biden, for this year. We deferred the payments for Iranians because I understand you can't transfer money from Iran to the U.S. I don't want you to even try because I don't want anyone in trouble. So we deferred payments for Iranians to participate in the first group lawsuit. I hope that we will do that in the next group lawsuit. I have not even discussed that with my law partner, Raphael, so I can't commit to that now. But there is a good chance it is likely that we will defer payments for the next group for Iranian until they enter the U.S.
دارن میگن که برای گروه اول که من میدونم که ما دفر کردیم، یعنی به تعویق انداختیم، گذاشتیم آخر کیس، برای که ما میدونیم چند هفته جابجایی پول از ایران به امریکا و من امیدوارم که برای گروه دوم اتفاق بیفته. اما خب دارن اسم رافائل بیزنس پارتنرشون رو میبرن و میگن که نمیدونم، مطمئن نیستم چه اتفاق بیفته، اما امیدوارم که اتفاق بیفته و پرداخت برای آخر کار باشه. آخر کار
یعنی وقتی رای بیاد و مشخص بشه، یا اگر رای پیروز نشه آیا هزینه‌ای باید برنده پرداخت کنن؟
چشم الان میپرسم. I'm sorry Mr. Morrison, does the defer means in both cases whether they win or lose the case? I mean, should they pay if they win or lose, or no?
No, if you
deferred payment.
Yeah, if you don't enter the U.S. on the DV, the payment mechanism is never triggered, so you do not owe unless unless you enter the U.S. on a DV. If you enter the U.S. on the
Okay.
DV, triggers it. And I think that was some DVs were confused about that in our first lawsuit, because I was surprised we only had 22 Iranians sign up for the UAO versus Biden lawsuit, and that really surprised me because in the past Iranians have been very supportive of our work, because we worked. What me and Raphael and our team did during the Trump years was we fought the Muslim ban. We filed lawsuits trying to get people waivers and challenging PP 9645. So for the most part, we have some loyalty in this community, and I was surprised that only 22 signed up for the UAO lawsuit. And I think that there was some confusion over the term. Maybe the translation didn't work or whatever, but you only owe us if you enter the US. If you don't enter the US, you don't owe us.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. دارم میگن که نه، قاعدتاً و قطعاً فقط شما وقتی وارد آمریکا بشی پول به ما میدی، نه وقتی که ببازی. اما داره تعجبش رو بیان میکنه از اینکه چطوره که امسال فقط 22 نفر ایرانی شرکت کردن توی این، و میگن که در حالی که ما کلی جنگیدیم اون سالهایی که ترامپ بن وجود داشت برای همه مسلمان‌ها، برای ایرانی‌ها و اینو دارن.
به نظر من بهشون بگید این شرایط بی‌نظیره که بعد از ورود به آمریکا این پول دریافت میشه. به نظر من شرایط خوبیه و امیدوارم پیروز بشن توی این چیز. از آقای موریسون این قول رو بگیریم که اگر یه شکایت جدیدی استارت شد این رو به ما اطلاع بدن که ما هم بتونیم اطلاع رسانی عمومی داشته باشیم.
Dear Mr. Morrison, first of all, we would like to thank you very much for the invaluable hard work you're doing and the generosity you have towards Iranians for this kind of deferred payments. That's wonderful, terrific, awesome. And then we would like to ask you if we can have some updates regarding the next upcoming lawsuits you have, so that we can also notify our audience, the winners who can, you know, sign up in this lawsuit, hopefully in the future.
Yes, absolutely. I will talk to Hamid on WhatsApp and make sure that you all have a heads up and an advance notice of what we are doing and when we will do it.
Thank you very much. برای میگن قطعاً که من این اطلاع رسانی میکنم، با شما مستقیم صحبت میکنم که ما مطمئن بشیم که عزیزان این خبر رو، اطلاع رسانی رو دریافت میکنن.
خیلی ممنونم. یه سوال دیگه در رابطه با طرحی که به سنا رفته بود در رابطه با برندگان 2017 تا 2020 که اسیر، من بگم اسیر بهتره، اسیر ترابل بند شدن، چقدر خوشبینن نسبت به اون و آیا شانسی برای چنین برندگانی قائل هستن یا؟
Dear Mr. Morrison, there is one last question. That's regarding the plan on 2017 to 2020 ban, which went to the Senate.
Travel ban بودن.
Yeah, travel ban plan. Yeah, let's say. So how lucky are they in order to, you know, proceed with their cases to get, you know, how are they lucky to get visas? Let's say, you know, that what he's Mr. Ghafi is trying to say there was a plan, is that right? Which went to the Senate regarding the 20.
این طرحی که رفته سنا و البته خیلی شانسی الان نمیبینیم براش که با لایحه بودجه رفته بود، آیا شانسی براش قائلن و اگر نه آیا این برندگان در حالاتی دیگه شانسایی دارن یا کار تمومه؟
Okay. Are there any chances for the ones whose case was between the years 2017 to 2020, and then they went to the right. Senate, right? Yeah. So, do they have any chance now?
It's difficult for people to hear this, but I have zero confidence in Congress solving this problem. I do not think that there is a chance. The Republican Party has no interest in helping immigrants, and that's an obstacle. You can't get anything done when half of America doesn't want to do it. So I know it's difficult to give up hope on those paths, but I think it's actually better for 2017 to 2019. If you were a DV winner that didn't get an interview or were refused a visa from 2017 to 2019, I think your path is over.
میگن خیلی سخته که این جوابو بدم، ولی متاسفانه با توجه به جامعه ریپابلیکن که وجود داره ما شانسی نمیبینیم برای این گروه و بهتره که بگیم که هیچ شانسی دیگه نیست.
و اگر صحبتی هست و من آخرین سوال رو بپرسم و بعدش دیگه جمع‌بندی کنیم، خیلی طولانی نشه لایومون. به آقای موریسون بگید به نظرشون دلیل این سختگیری ها توی سفارتی مثل ایروان که با ایرانی ها خیلی غیر منطقی داره در ماهای گذشته رفتار میشه، به نظرشون چیه؟ آیا مشکل خاصی با ایرانی ها هست یا چه راهبردی است که این باعث این اتفاق میشه؟
Yes. Sorry, Mr. Morrison. Do you see any reasons behind this kind of being tough and difficult on Iranians in embassies like Yerevan in the last few months? Do you think there's any reason behind this? I mean, what Mr. Ghafi is trying to say is that they are being kind of difficult on Iranian selectees. Is there any reason for that or what?
I think it's the same reason that we discussed earlier, in that a lot of people who thrived under the Trump administration are still working for the Biden administration. So you have some anti-immigrant and especially anti-Iranian forces within the State Department. Usually, I think these are all guys that still resent what happened in the revolution. I think that they're holding grudges, you know, from like a lot of people. These are people not at the embassy. They're people that are setting policies from the visa office that should be retired. They're probably in their 70s, but they're just old people that have old ideas, and they're still around. We just have to wait for them to leave, because Biden does not have the courage to fire them. We see that.
Yes, thank you. دارم میگم متاسفانه اینا به خاطر همون دلیل قبلی که ذکر شد، یعنی خب به هر حال جمعیتی که وجود داره و غالبه و اصلا اینا توی امبسی ها نیستن، بلکه کسایی هم که دارن قانون رو وضع میکنن و دارن از قانون، از کلمه ببخشید کینه استفاده میکنن، کینه دارن و انگار مثلا دیگه الان 70 سالشونه باید بازنشسته شن ولی نمیرن و دولت پرزیدنت هم این جرأت رو نداره اینا رو بازنشست بکنه یا اخراج بکنه. میگن که متاسفانه مجبوریم صبر کنیم تا اینا برن.
خب از آقای موریسون بپرسید چرا توی سفارتی مثل حالا اسم نمیبرم سفارت‌های دیگه این مشکل نیست، چرا توی ایروان داره این اتفاق میفته؟
Sorry, Mr. Morrison, but there's one major question regarding why it's happening in this specific embassy like Yerevan and not the other two embassies like Ankara or let's say Abu Dhabi. Like,
well,
اسم ابوظبی آوردید، نمیخواستم اسم ابوظبی بیارم وای پالی خان. نمیخواستم اسم ابوظبی بیارم. Okay.
Keep telling jokes. So, I have an answer. I think it's because Yerevan is actually interviewing people. Abu Dhabi can't mistreat people because they're not letting them come in to interview, right? So, I think Yerevan is. I haven't looked at the rates recently, but I think what part of the thing is if you have more people come in, you're going to have more opportunities to mistreat them. And as long as Ankara and Abu Dhabi have this restrictive view of interviews where they are only interviewing spouses of U.S. citizens, you're not going to see as many instances of that bias.
دارم میگن که انگاری که اینجوریه که خب اگه هر چقدر بیشتر بخوان دعوت بکنن این سختگیریه خب بیشتر میشه، پس کمتر این کار میکنن که اذیت نشن و بیشتر داریم میبینیم که دارن اسپاوزا یعنی همسرا رو بیشتر دارن دعوت میکنن، کاتگوری یک بیشتر دارن دعوت میکنن تو این دوتا سفارت انکارا و ابوظبی. اینو دارن میگن.
ببینید آیا سیاست‌های درونی سفارت‌ها تاثیرگذارن روی این سختگیری رفتاری فکر کنم باید یکم بهتر باشون توضیح بدم.
But okay, sorry. Are the interior policies of the embassies? Do the interior policies of the embassies affect these kind of being difficult and disciplines, or no, being difficult on the interviewees?
So the consular officers have to follow these regulations. Many of them you can find on the internet. They're called FAM code, the Foreign Affairs Manual, but it's like thick. It's a lot of rules. And what you have is sometimes consular officers follow some of the rules, some of them follow all of the rules. I think when you see a consular officer mistreating an Iranian, what's happening is they're following the rules. Because there's a lot of rules that are redacted in the FAM code that we can't even see, and a lot of those are designed specifically to do higher vetting of Iranians. I hate to say that.
Yes, thank you. دارن میگن که یه تعدادی قانون مثلا میگن دفترش مثلا اینقدر ضخامتی که قانونش که ما اصلا نمیبینیم. خب یه سری قانونا هستش که پابلیش شده منتشر، یه سری نیستش و اینطور به نظر میاد که اگه همچین رفتاری دارن میکنن به خاطر قانونیه که متاسفانه وجود داره در مورد بالاخص رفتار با ایرانی ها.
You know what the problem? Iranians are smart and educated, and that makes the State Department suspicious and think that you're all spies. Because you're too smart. Why are you so smart?
Thank you. میگه که چون ایرانی‌ها خیلی باهوش و با تحصیلاتن، Department of State فکر می‌کنه شما جاسوس باشین. چرا شما خوبی؟
So you created this problem. So
ما خودمون میگیم ما درستش کردیم. Yes, thank you.
کمترین با موریسون بگید کمترین نرخ جرم و جنایت رو ایرانی‌ها توی آمریکا دارن. ایرانی‌ها که کاری نکردن هیچ.
However, there is the thing about the lowest rate of crimes being committed by Iranians in the United States. How is it that they think like they see us as spies and being problematic?
I don't know. We have a bunch of old senile people running the U.S. You can relate to that, surely, but you can't say it out loud. Sometimes the leaders are not in touch with what...
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part. I'm sorry, Mr. Morrison. You can what?
You may be able to relate with this. Sometimes our leaders are not in touch with what reality is. Sometimes...
Yes, thank you.
They don't know what's happening.
متاسفانه میگن که یه موقع رهبرای ما اصلا با اون واقعیت خب در تماس نیستن. مسئله اینو میگن.
خب thank you Mr. Morrison.
Thank you.
It's very good. از آقای موریسون تشکر کنید و من بیشتر از این وقتشون نمیگیرم. اگه صحبتی هست در خدمتشون هستیم، اگر نه که لایو رو به پایان میرسیم.
We would love to thank you and appreciate all the time you gave us, Mr. Morrison. Thank you very much for this. And if there's anything you want to add in this last part of the talk, or we would really say thank you very much. And it meant a lot. And it's very, very helpful and insightful for all the audience who attended this meeting. And sorry, on my part, sorry if I did not understand some bits and parts, because these are some very specific terms, not easy for me. Sometimes I needed to paraphrase.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I make it very happy.
Thank you.
Morrison, have a good day.
Bye.
And thank you. Thank you. Good day.
Hi, this is Curtis Morrison. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Thank you.